Good evening. Thank you, all you wonderful doTERRAs. This is Kathy Hunsaker, and I welcome you to our real life healing classes. And if you would just join us tonight, just unmute yourself because I'd love to hear from you. But let's get started. I have a very special part to share with you tonight, but before then, there's a few important truths and items that I would like to discuss with you just very shortly. So the picture that you see is lovely, lovely lavender fields. But if you will notice, if you'll just really look at it closely, you're not going to see any big old highways with lots of cars and emissions blowing all over on them. Or it's not even close to an airport where the emissions from the airport and all those bad chemicals are falling down on these beautiful lavender plants. doTERRA always sources their oils from wherever they're indigenous for the lovely part that they were intended to be in the earth. So they don't have any of those pesticides or herbicides or horrible chemicals that are on them. And they're tested so that just at the right time, even of day or year, month, whatever, for it to have the highest potency of the chemical constituents that provide our medical properties. That's what they test for and make sure that that's what happens. So another thing, a little disclaimer that we do is, and whether it's true or not, doTERRA does not prevent, treat, or cure diseases. We may have some different ideas about that, but actually it is a truth. Your lifestyle, my lifestyle choices can help prevent or cause the diseases that we're dealing with. Our doctors treat symptoms and fix broken parts, and bless their hearts, and we're so glad that they are there to do that. But your body, my body, with proper support, cures itself. So why do we use doTERRA essential oils and their products? Well, here's why it matters to me. This is my husband and my children and my grandchildren about, it's been 13 years. They hate their pictures taken. And we just can't get family pictures. And it's just horrible. However, this is one that we've had. And just a year after that, we had a family reunion with my mom and dad and their children and their grandchildren and their great-grandchildren. And again, this picture is over 13 years old. So this is why it is so important to me, is all these beautiful, wonderful people, I want them to have a healthy lifestyle. And almost everyone in this picture uses essential oils. It's really exciting. My experience is that with essential oils or with anything, a lot of people have concerns about they're too expensive. But I'm here to tell you they are safe. They're effective. And they really are less expensive than over the counter. And I know you've probably seen this slide many times. However, I think it's really important to go over it again, that a few things, almost everything that's going on in your life, guess what? There is an oil for that. Or a product that doTERRA supplies for us. So if you were running a fever and you had a temperature and you had peppermint oil or lavender, and there's probably others too, it would cost you about 33 cents and between 5 and 10 minutes to lower that temperature, even though a fever is important. We shouldn't be afraid of it. It's something that tells us that there's probably an infection or something's going on in our body, and our body is starting to work to try and take care of it. However, we have something that can help whatever's going on in our body during that time. If we had to run down to the drugstore or whatever, or anywhere and get medication, we might could do it for about 50 cents. I don't know. It's gone up so much. I'm not even sure if we could do it for that. And usually it takes 30 minutes or more. What about our digestive system? If we use digestive oil, it's about 39 cents in between 5 and 10 minutes. If we use an over-the-counter, it's between 15 and 30 minutes and probably about 70 cents. Again, things have gone up so much since we did this years ago that I don't even dare guess. What about our ears? Sometimes that gets really, really painful, don't you think? The discomfort's there. So lavender or tea tree oil or Purify or basil or any of those amazing oils, you would take a drop. You could put it on a cotton ball and stick it in your ear. You could put it around your ear a couple of times in about, 12 hours, and it would cost probably around 64 cents to get that discomfort and start getting that inflammation and infection gone. Doctor's visits and antibiotics, wow, it could be, and if you can do it for $28.99, good for you, 7 to 10 days. So take your health into your own control. And of course, doTERRA teaches us that wellness equals balanced daily healthcare routines. And over the years, doTERRA has even changed some of theirs. Of course, nutrition has always been our foundation of good health. But now they really know that nutrition and digestion is the foundation of all of our good health. Movement and metabolism, rest and manage stress, reduce toxicity, and then guess what? That's our lifestyle. And we go into the healthcare, we have to be informed ourselves. So I can't stress it enough. The name of my company actually is Curago Vita, which means in Latin, I take control of my life in every aspect. And then be very proactive. Try to get ahead of it. Don't be the ones, and I can't even tell you the last several months, several years actually, how many people call me after they've been suffering for about a week and then say, oh, do you have anything for this? And I think, why didn't you tell me the day that you started? Why don't you start taking some of these things on a daily routine so you don't have to suffer so much? But it's a lifelong education system, isn't it? Okay, so today I have chosen heart health with doTERRA's essential oils and products, mainly because, do you know, between Thanksgiving and Christmas, I had 3 people on my street die from a heart attack. 3 on my street. So if that's happening, can you imagine what it is in the whole world? So when we think about our heart, have you ever said to anybody, I love you with all my heart? My heart aches when there's sadness and evil. What does that tell you? That organ in our body is really, really important. Let's talk about what the heart looks like. So I couldn't make up my mind because I liked all of these pictures, and each one will show you all the different parts and functions of the heart. Okay, we've got arteries, and we've got veins, and we've got atriums, and we've got the muscle. And the heart I always think of as a muscle, but actually the outside of it's the muscle. And look at all those inner parts that have a lot of function. And I actually did study each of these functionalities. And if we have time and you really want to know what each one does. We'll come back and go over that. But one of the main functions, or I don't know if it's main, but the heart function is our blood pressure, okay? So we have the systolic pressure, which occurs when the ventricles contract to pump the blood to wherever it has to go through the circulatory system, all over our body. The diastolic pressure occurs when the ventricles, they relax and the heart refills with blood, waiting for the next contraction. That was interesting. Us women that have had children, we understand the word contraction, right? So I don't know about this relaxing, but they tell you to do that. So the blood pressure is the pressure that is exerted on the artery walls, okay, by the circulating of blood. And I know that the Medical Association has come out and said that, well, actually, they changed it down to about 135/80. However, they say that high blood pressure is anything 140/90. So let's see what that might look like. Actually, let's just talk for a minute about some oils that might help, or products for blood pressure. And this is something that when I was younger, up until I was about 60, 65, I had low blood pressure. People couldn't believe when I worked in certain departments in lending that I wasn't having a stroke like everybody else. There was a lot of pressure, and mine was very low. However, since going through menopause, my blood pressure has been off the charts. It's actually gone up to 200/112. And the doctors will say, why aren't you stroking out? And I go, I don't know. I don't know why I'm not. However, I did try prescription medication because, the fear of stroking out, it did absolutely nothing for me. After 3 months, my doctor said, why are you still taking this? Because if it's that high and they give you a prescription, it should take it down very, very quickly. Well, it didn't do anything for me. So I had to do lots and lots of research on possibilities that can cause blood pressure being too high or too low. But I have found that lifelong vitality, again, is really important for that. And now MetaPower has come into our life, which I love. Lemon in your water is still a very basic one that helps with high blood pressure, low blood pressure. It's an adaptogen. Marjoram or wintergreen on the back of your neck, or any of the calming oils, and especially of the Aroma Touch technique, helps a lot. Let's look at what could cause some problems in our heart. So angina. This is a picture of showing you a normal artery. It looks like blood could just flow through there with no problem. However, you look at the one in the B, it's a narrowing of it, and it's very hard for blood to go through there. A lot of times the cause is plaque. So what is angina anyway? Well, chest pain or discomfort that occurs if an area of your heart muscle that doesn't get enough oxygen-rich blood. It may feel like pressure or squeezing on your chest. The pain also can occur in your shoulders, your arms, your neck, your jaw, your back. Angina pain may even feel like indigestion. But it isn't a disease. It's a symptom of an underlying heart problem. Angina usually is a symptom of CHD or coronary heart disease. So let's look at what, again, over all these past 13 years, I have studied the heart and all of the parts of it and the function of each one. And this is what I came up with, that actually Hundreds of people have used it and have reported saying it helps. My husband uses it actually, quite often just because he has, and yet so I should finish my sentence. He uses it quite often because he has discomfort on his heart, and it feels like just those things that was identifying symptoms of angina. That's the symptom, right? So these are what I chose. Frankincense, and in this order. And I layer them. If you're going to use this quite regularly, I would suggest that you put fractionated coconut on first, okay? You're just going to rub it around your heart. And then 1 drop of frankincense. It communicates with the DNA for healthy cells, and especially for inflammation. Then you're going to take 1 drop of ginger. Again, rub it around your heart clockwise. Ginger stimulates the heart for normal palpitations for you, and it helps if there's any muscle pain. The next one is cypress. Cypress is known as the roto-rooter of arteries and veins. So it cleans the veins and arteries. Now, do you remember how we saw it? If it starts getting clogged with plaque or other gunk or whatever, it's smaller and therefore the blood flow can't be there. The next step is we want to make sure that that blood flow is balanced. It's not too thick, it's not coagulated, it's not too thin, it's just right for what we need. Helichrysum is amazing for that. Next, we want to make sure our blood pressure isn't too high or too low. Ylang ylang is found to be very, very effective. And then, of course, we have to keep that happy heart, so wild orange at the last. So very quickly again, wellness equals balanced daily health care. Let's talk about those areas just very quickly. Wellness equals proper nutrition. I have not found anything in my last 70 years of, well, I've only been taking supplementation probably for about 50 years. And I was spending $250 a month on my nutrition because I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. And they said, you'll probably be in a wheelchair after about when you're 40. And I wasn't going to have that. So I knew I wasn't getting the nutrition that I needed. And I found some amazing supplements from 5 different companies. And it was costing me $250. So 13 years ago, when I got introduced to doTERRA and their lifelong vitality, that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted my life to be long, full of vitality, and it has worked absolutely wonderful for me. This next chart is kind of a fun one. Many times, the questions we have is, what should my plate look like for my food, for me? Well, did you know that your hand is really important? And it has all of the reflex points in it from every part of your body, but it's also a good indicator of the size of plate that you should be using to eat your meals on. The other one that you can measure is, what about our complex carbs and our whole grains, our legumes and our vegetable proteins? Starchy foods, fruits, vegetables should be the size of like your fist. Now, what about our protein, meat and nuts and things like that? It should be the size of your palm and the thickness of your hand. That's a good indicator. The next one, it says simple sugars. Well, let me tell you, I would hope that we are all to the point where processed sugar is just as eliminated as you possibly can from your diet. But, your dressings and your butters and your good fat and all, not whatever, but desserts, not good fat. Okay, we need our good fat. Should be the size of your thumb. You know, it was interesting that for years and years, my husband and I love root beer floats. They're just, and root beer freezes. That's our treat. We really like that. And we actually bought us mugs about this big for our root beer floats. And after I saw this chart, I says, wow, we've got to change our lifestyle. So I found a little teeny mug that was the size of my thumb for my root beer float. It's really cute. Anyway, all of this, hydration is really important, of course. And I have told, and I'm probably many of you, but I've studied with a functional neurologist for years. And he gets really upset when he finds out that other medical doctors are telling their patient to eliminate salt in their diet. He says processed salt, yes, it can harden your arteries and it can do all those other things that are not good for us. But sea salt is essential to our life. That is what flushes your kidneys. And if you don't flush those kidneys, it doesn't matter how much water you drink, you will never be hydrated. Mm-hmm. So don't forget that, okay? Water is so very important to us, but so is salt. But it must be the sea salt with the trace minerals in it. All right, we talked a little bit about how important our gut is, and all of this, every organ, every tissue, every cell works together in harmony. And if they're out of harmony, we're out of balance, we're in trouble. The PB Assist is a must because it has the probiotic that goes into your stomach to get all the really good microflora. And then because it's double capsulated, the rest of it goes into your gut to get all that good bacteria and to clean out that part so that your neural fibers in your gut can talk to this part of the brain and give the right signals. You should take about 3 tablets a day. It says for 5 days. However, over the last 13 years, I've decided that I need at least 1 a day, every single day. Sometimes 2 or 3, sometimes more. And sometimes I really like the PB Assist for kids. It tastes so good. And I like those crystals. They're really good to eat. In fact, I have more adults that like it but the children do like it. And I can tell you a really fun story. One of my grandsons years ago, when it first came out, he loved it. And he made his own lunch every day and took it to school. So while he's eating his lunch, he gets out his PB Assist and tears it open and he's licking it. And they go, "Can I have some of that? Is that a pixie stick?" He goes, "No, that's my probiotics. How do you take your probiotics?" And then they would say, "Well, what's a probiotic?" And he said, "Oh my goodness, your gut must be in terrible condition. You better go home and talk to your mom." It was great. And that is true. The other thing that we cannot forget is proper exercise. Exercise regularly, at least 30 minutes a day. We should try and get our heart going up to like 140. If you can get it to 160, that's even better for about 30 to 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes. Do you know, I exercise every single day. I go to the gym and I play pickleball and I do stairs and I'm very, very active. And it's still very hard for me to get my heart up to that rate. Anyway, let's go on because here's some good oils that you could use for your exercise every day. Wintergreen, peppermint, copaiba, deep blue. And you're going to get sick of this, but you have to have your lifelong vitality and your MetaPower every day because MetaPower is going to help all of your body too. It's going to help your eyes, your skin, your sleep, your all your bones and muscles and tissues, and that's another class. And if you don't know all of the things that MetaPower does, please go on Real Life Healing and watch Jenny Bear. She has had lots of classes on this, and a lot of the other leaders have had them too, and they're recorded. You can watch them whenever you want. Just check it out. Sleep. Sleep is very important for the brain, for your heart, for everything. If you don't get adequate sleep, you're going to keep all of that gunk and toxins in your brain. And if you feel like you've got brain fog, that's why you're not getting adequate sleep. Therefore, it's not detoxing, and the rest of your body isn't either. And here are a few suggestions. Lavender, serenity, Roman chamomile. Each night, you can diffuse a couple of drops, rub 1 or 2 drops on your feet, put them in your bath, diffuse them. There's so many oils and products that can help. And if you didn't get to listen to Lane's, go in on Real Life Healing, because she had an absolutely wonderful class on the importance and all the things you can use for sleep. So when we use all 3 of these supplements as outlined, we are building a foundation that our bodies can draw upon to block excessive inflammation. But here's some oils that might help you if you're having some discomfort and inflammation. Oregano, rosemary, cinnamon, black pepper. These are just a few now, but they're good. Siberian fir, wintergreen, deep blue, and marjoram. You can actually pick, like 4 of these oils if you want, and take them internally. Just put them in a capsule and take them 2 to 3 times a day until whatever you're dealing with is gone. Sorry, going back. So, thank you for listening to my little presentation about the heart. A healthy heart is a happy heart and a happy body. That's the end of our presentation. I'm going to stop sharing so we can kind of see each other. Does anyone have any comments or questions that you would like to present before I stop the recording? All right. Well, thank you so very much for joining me tonight. And I hope you'll join us every Tuesday night. And there's lots of good things that are coming up in the near future. So don't be shy. Invite your friends, your family, your enemies, whoever to come and join us. So I'm going to stop the recording, and we will hopefully see you next week.